All right. Good afternoon. Hope everyone's having a good trading session. Hopefully, just as good as Lady Leverage today. Absolutely killing it. Up 15K. Probably even more on at this point. I've had a pretty good day. Not as good as hers, but pretty good. Pretty good. Made my goal plus some today with the SPX credit spreads. Took them both sides. Played support on the move up and then played resistance on the move down. So all in all, it's been a pretty good, juicy day today for sure. Good to end it on a positive note for sure. But all right, as always, we're going to take a look at what we have in store for next week. Let me see if we got any kind of earnings. It doesn't look like it. So here's next week earnings. Tilray, WD-40. I need to get some of that. We got a squeaky door. I need to get some WD-40 to put that on. Delta, that'll be pretty interesting. Start of some of the travels. CarMax, Lovesac. Yeah. Oh, then we got the banks starting things off on Friday. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Citi. That's going to be exciting. All right. So we get some financial names. We got Delta. All right. So we got some fun coming up next week as far as earnings goes. Yeah. Citi, BlackRock, Wells Fargo. It's about to get all heated up and nasty next week. What was that? Calendar. Let me see what the calendar is for next week. I know we have CPI. Yep, CPI on Wednesday. Nothing on the docket for Monday. Nothing too crazy on Tuesday. Wednesday we have CPI followed by some Fed speakers. Bowman 10-year auction. FOMC minutes. That'll be a little interesting. Probably not much of a market mover, but we'll see what happens. And then we got PPI on Thursday. That generally follows CPI. Let's see here. We also have unemployment again. That's just weekly numbers. Not as many Fed speakers next week. Ooh, we got the 30-year bond auction on Thursday. So definitely the key thing, we got CPI and PPI next week, as well as FOMC minutes. That's going to be the big ticket item there. And then on Friday, we have some of the financial names coming up on Friday. So looking at the CPI, our historical readings, we can see that we did see a little bit of an uptick last reading. Powell and them, they weren't too shaken up by that. We'll see if that's the case. If we get another higher reading going into this next one. So like they said, we need to know if it's just a little bit of a bump in the road, or if it's not just a little bit of a bump in the road. And we've already seen that energy prices have already come up. Oil has been heating up a little bit, and we got that nasty little sell-off yesterday, which was our biggest move that we've had since this bull run. So pretty good stuff. I was watching, it was kind of funny. I was thinking, this would be wild if we got this in crazy V-shaped recovery on this. That would just totally wreck the bears if we recovered everything that we got pulled down yesterday. So that hasn't happened so far. We've just kind of been struggling. I've anchored a volume profile from yesterday's start, and it looked like we were going to get this nice little partial volume gap fill here all the way up to about 522.5 or so, but we came up to the POC off of that anchored high, and we just kind of petered out from there. And now, as you can see, we've pulled down to about 517, a little bit of a mini shelf there, and since then we've bounced just a little bit, and now just trying to fill all this out right here. So yeah, unless something crazy happens within this next hour, I don't personally see it happening. I was kind of anticipating that maybe we bounce a little bit off of that just because we moved so quickly. So we moved down so much so quickly. So it made sense that we did bounce. Now, yesterday, I did point out in the notes that this was our first daily close below the 21 EMA, and this is that white line here. And yeah, possible structural damage in play now. I think it's definitely something to make a mental note of going into next week and going into the inflation readings. We also saw QQQ break a channel there, and we'll take a look at that. So, I think for now, it definitely, you want to err on the side of caution at this point. Is the top end for now? Maybe not. I mean, we could always have a really good positive CPI reading and we shoot up, but those Fed speakers kind of hounded in some worries there with investors stating that, okay, maybe we're not going to cut rates at all this year, possibly even once, maybe none. Kashkari and Bowman have definitely come out a little bit on the hawkish side of things. So we'll see if this CPI reading really shakes things up. We'll still run some scans here and see what kind of pops up. But, honestly, I'm leaning to the side of let's just wait and see what this inflation reading is going to be. Day trading does seem to be your best friend. I mean, right now we have a VIX of about 16, which is not extremely high, but it's trending higher. That's the thing. Yields are also trending higher. The dollar's being sticky, so we'll take a look at those too, just to kind of look at those red warning signs out there. So yeah, maybe a lot of patience at this moment in time. If you have long stock, maybe you want to go ahead and consider, okay, do you want to raise your stops at this point? Do we need to start thinking about shedding? Go ahead and start considering that. In my opinion, we could just have this pull back and bounce right back up. We could very well have that happen, but I think it's important to go ahead, if you have plenty of long stock, maybe just go ahead and reevaluate where you're at, where you're sitting at. What was your entry levels? What exactly are you messing with as far as targets? How much risk do you have on the board right now? For me, I don't have too much risk on the board. Of course, I have my long terms. I'm going to take a review of that this weekend and see if there's anything that I want to go ahead and take off the table, or if I just want to keep the risk on. But for now, I think there are some caution flags here. And one of those things is definitely we had that big drop down yesterday. Pretty bearish altogether. Maybe some profit taking, maybe some fears with the overseas troubles and everything else. So that's where I'm at right now. Let's go take a look at the NASDAQ. But as far as the SPX goes, we had that daily close below the 21. We have this inside bar today. It doesn't look like we're going to break above yesterday's high or yesterday's low. We're just going to keep inside of it. And I believe Stock Curry posted, that this was it's got a 53% chance of reversing and pushing back higher, which it may be. That's not the best scoring pattern out there, but it's something to consider too. So we'll see if bulls can fight this one out, especially after inflation data. I'm kind of leaning that would just chop around here like we've kind of been doing. We've just been kind of choppy, no big candles at all. But we've still been having fun day trading. But swings, yeah, they're a little bit of a problem child, it seems, right now, just because we're so elevated. So SPX, if we do want to come down, we haven't tested the daily 50 yet in quite some time. That sits at about 50.83 at this moment, and your upper target would still be around 52.65. So we're kind of in the middle of things. We're holding on to the daily 21 for now. As far as the SPX goes, we can convert that by looking at the SPY too, just so you have those numbers. High on SPY is 524.60. We haven't retested the daily 50 since this bull run has begun. That sits at about 507. That could be a buyable dip. Now we're still very much so in an uptrend. Don't get me wrong. If we do continue to dip here, 506 could be a possible spot. 503 is another viable spot. This would be a retest of the breakout right here. You can't really see it because it's kind of zoomed out a good bit. So let me try to zoom this in. So this would be the prior peak here, and we've retested it once, and that's where we took off from there, and that was back in February when things were getting a little bit more spicy. But if we look at the weekly chart, let me pull up you again. Let's go to the SPY weekly. Let's see. Don't want that anymore. No, you can go away. You can go away. Okay, if we pull up the weekly and put on our moving averages, you can see that we are crazy extended from the 21. I'm going to put an 8 on there just to see where we're at. Okay, so we're actually hanging on to the 8 EMA. So as long as that holds, this has been a strong uptrend, and as you can see on the weekly, we've broken out, we've held it. You could argue that. There we go. So now we've kind of cooled back. This is starting to flatten out just a little bit, understandably so. And now we're just in this mini Darvas box here on the SPY between about 520, whatever that number was, 524 and 518. So let's see what happens. Next week, we either get some kind of range expansion or we get chopped around. I did go ahead and put in an anchored VWAP here from the swing high. And as you can see, that seems to be acting as a little bit of our resistance. That's this yellow line here. Let me take away the moving averages so you can see that a little bit more. This yellow line, this is the anchored VWAP from the all-time high. Gapped above it, and that's when we flushed, and now we're just kind of trading back and forth from it. That's also your week-to-date VWAP too. So it's just interesting. Nothing too crazy, but we'll see what happens for sure. All right, let's take a look at the Qs. Overall bullish uptrend with some... it's almost one of the things. We have bullish structure, but momentum has just gone away for the bulls. It's almost like the market has bought a Lambo and the Lamborghini is out of gas. So now it's just sitting there. So it's nice and pretty, looks sharp, beautiful car, and you got that, what's that movie? It ain't got no gas. No gas in the tank. Qs, same story here, inside day, sell off yesterday, holding the daily 50. This is a level that we haven't really tested in a while. If we bring up the Qs here, you can see that we broke out of this longer term channel, trying to close back into the range. This go, if it does, then great. We reclaim the channel and we can go from there. But if we add in those moving averages, you can see that we're just hanging on to the daily 50 and kind of pinched between the 21 and the 50. So if we start to lose the daily 50, nothing generally good happens at that point. If we start to lose that, then yeah, we're going to be talking about filling this gap here. That would take you all the way down to about 425.50 on the Qs. And once you get going there, then I mean, you're pretty much looking at a retest of this high, and things get ugly real quick, or can get ugly real quick. And like I said, it's like one of those things. I think that analogy is pretty spot on, that the market is a Ferrari but out of gas. So let's go to the IWM. Small caps hit 210, big resistance level. This was a level that, it kind of wrestled with back in 2021, 2022, or 2020, 2021. Then we cracked down, created a new range. Once we established that range, we broke out. Now we're just kind of bonking our head at this 210 level. So until it gets above 210, small caps are just, small caps are tough to trade. They're very sensitive to the high interest rates. You got to kind of pick your battles here. Yeah. Until it breaks above 210, we're just kind of stuck. The Dow probably in a little bit better shape here, but in fact, the Dow's actually the troublesome spot. We had that news, what was it, Wednesday with the whole Medicaid? No, maybe that was Tuesday. The whole Medicaid issue. A lot of your healthcare names like UNH got clapped, Cigna. Cigna's actually holding up just fine right now. Lilly, well, Lilly's more of a drug company. Pharmaceutical. Let's see, Humana is getting hit. CVS got hit pretty good too on that, and they're all kind of recovering a little bit, but for the most part, and it looks kind of rough. You do have some earnings coming up for some of these guys, so time will tell on that. But they did say that Humana or UNH, they would lose about 8% of their earnings just because of that whole Medicare, Medicaid low price issue that came about on, what was that, on Tuesday. So definitely something to pay attention to. I probably wouldn't be involved here with the XLV at this point. It seems to be that it is somewhat guilty until proven innocent, until we get back above the 21 EMA. So for now, I don't really trust it until it gets back above 145. In fact, we can put an anchored VWAP here, and you can see this all kind of clusters up here at this 144, 145 zone. So there's a lot of confluence here, and until we get out of this, I really don't want to be involved with XLV. So it's pretty ugly, if you ask me. I'm going to drop in a anchored volume here too, just to see where things are at. And you can go ahead and see here that we have this volume shelf here, and we broke down through it, and it looks like we're just going to come on down and retest these guys here down at about 140, 139 areas. So you got a little bit of a volume gap here between the two shelves, and we'll see what happens within the next few days, especially as we get more and more into earnings. Could act as a possible vacuum. And then of course you got the financials, which are kind of the strong outlier as of late. We got the earnings coming up from JP Morgan and all that. That'll be interesting. But for the most part, yeah, financials look pretty good. JP Morgan looks good. Goldman's doing all right. I actually like Goldman on this pullback because if we bring this out, I got a few lines here, but this is your breakout of your lifetime high, this 404.37. Let me change that to a different color. Let's go pink. All right, so this pink line is your breakout of prior all-time highs. You came back down to it, retested it not once, but twice, 3 times really. So breakout 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your 4th time holding this 404. So this could be a good spot to sell some puts, buy some call debit spreads if you want. Check out some Goldman Sachs if you want to try something there. And it's very clean too. As soon as you break, if you get a daily close below this 404 level, then yeah, you could, stop out and, wipe your feet and move on. In fact, let me look at that for next week, just to see what happens when I sell a 400 put. I'm kind of getting into Lady's wheelhouse now. See, I'm learning stuff from her too. We can get like a $2 credit on that. That's not bad. What if we sold 400s though for next week? Sell vertical. 400, 397.50 put. That would bring in about 50 cents in credit. So I mean, that's not terrible. Generally I like to look for a little bit more on those, but it's not bad. But Goldman Sachs looks good. You got Bank of America earnings coming up too. Delta has earnings, but that's not financials. All right, so we looked at the Dow. If the Dow wants to fall here and completely lose the 50, I mean, we had this ugly close yesterday below the daily 50, below the 21. I mean, we haven't had that happen since, oh man, a while. So, yucky. Let me see what happens. What happens when I put them here? I may have to go further out. That might be fine. Yeah, I don't mind that. That puts your point of control down at about 372, which is still a long way. So if we start to slip, what is this, 385 or so, it can get a little hairy. So that's something to pay attention to as well. Let's go check out the RSP, which is the equal weighted S&P 500. A little bit damaged too as well. Let's go to the 10-year. 10-year trading at about 4.4. And this is definitely a headache for the market, especially with energy prices. If you look at crude oil has just been on a complete uptick. Energy names have been rising pretty quickly. And that CPI reading is going to be interesting when it comes to all that. We've seen Phillips 66 break out, COP, ZOM, Oxy, they've all been performing really, really well. So keep an eye on your energy names. I can't recommend buying at this point. The buy was definitely this breakout at 90, but now it's definitely extended. But if you see how you got every time you get a little bit air between price and the 8, it pulls back and then it launches even further. So now you got that same little situation where you got a little bit of air pocket between the moving average and price. You just need a little bit of a pullback and see if you can catch a bid there. We haven't tested the 21 in quite some time, so that would be something. But see how this is just like basically pointing straight up. Strong moves by the energy names. Very impressive. Let's see. Let's go check out the IYT, which is important when it comes to Dow theory. Generally speaking, if the Dow's relative strength or weakness, you want to check out the transports. Transports look okay, kind of the same situation, holding on to the daily 50, but it looks like you got a possible double top here at about the 71 mark, and then we just need to see if she can hold this 68, 67 mark. But if we don't, then yeah, that could spill over. You got a little bit of a gap to fill here if transports want to crash and burn there a little bit. So something to take a note of. That's going to affect, UNP, CS. This actually looks a little ugly here. UNP looks kind of gross. See how we've broken structure here. All the moving average, the faster key moving averages are pointing down. We're now below the flat 50 simple moving average. See how that's flattening out. 21's moving down. Yeah, that doesn't look too good. You got a clear downtrend at this point. You could argue that's maybe we're flagging, but if we're flagging, we got to break back above the 21 EMA. So break above the 21, you're back to bullish. I would argue too that you need to break above the 50, and that's just based upon that trend. But if we continue to puke here, your next support isn't until about 230. So 230 on UNP. We got Uber. Uber's done pretty well, holding support at 76. Very constructive here. If we break below, 74. If we break below 74, there's this gap to 10-2 here towards, what is that, 69? Definitely something to pay attention to if we start to have some issues. Let's see. We started to make this move at about just to see where these volume profiles take us. Yeah, look, you gotta. That would be nasty. If you broke down here, I know there's a lot going on here, but if we break down, you still got this volume gap here to deal with. But if you can come all the way down to about 63.50. That's where this next shelf is on Uber. So if Uber breaks down, you got a long ways to go, which is nice. So we can take advantage of that downward move if we happen to break down even further. All right, so there's XL, or excuse me, that was the transports. Let's go check out Bitcoin. We haven't looked at Bitcoin in a hot minute. Bitcoin's doing, yeah, it's hanging in there. It's not as good as gold. Gold has just been on a tear, so congrats, gold longs. I would like a dip like we had back here to join in, but you know I'm not involved in it, which is kind of makes me upset a little bit. But gold futures have been looking really darn nice. I can't chase it here, but yeah, looks good. Bitcoin. Oh, copper too. I wanted to look at copper GC. No, that's gold. Shoot, why am I blanking out? HG. That's what it is. Jeez. Copper features. Copper's looking pretty good too. So commodities, not too shabby. Not too shabby. SECO, Southern Copper. Yeah, there you go. FCX. Beautiful. Are we getting close to lifetime highs here? Uh-huh. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so Freeport McMoran. That's juicy. Okay, something to keep in mind. Keep an eye on commodities because this looks pretty nice. We got earnings on Tuesday, April the 23rd. Yeah, not too bad. Southern Copper, FCX. Could be exciting. Usually when these commodities start to run, especially copper, that's usually a good sign for the market, but I think the market has other things on its mind right now. Let me go back to Bitcoin. All right, so we're just kind of hanging out here. Possible bearish pattern. Let's see. Lower high. Getting a little bit sandwiched. A little bit of a pennant. Okay. So we either break up or break down pretty much. If we lose the daily 50, look out below. I think some of these crypto names, ooh, Coin came right back in. MSTR, yeah, they're all coming back in. Mara, yikes. Riot. Okay. So I think for me, Bitcoin needs to hold about 64K. Lose 64, it could get a little bit ugly. Bitcoin's been a very big outperformer this year. Big move. But if we happen to catch this breakout above 67 to 70K, yeah, then we're in business for sure. Got a little toppy here at about 72. Plenty of wicks. Okay. 68 to 72, that's your upside. If it breaks above that, yeah, we're back in fun land on Bitcoin. But for now, we gotta just kind of pick our battles here. I don't really like it right now. It's just a sit and wait kind of mode. Let's go check out some of the peripherals. We already looked at the yields. Yields just a nice little upward channel here for the time being. Dollar has been kind of muted, but kind of annoying. It's like that mosquito that just kind of keeps coming back and biting you in the neck, and you can't seem to swat at it to kill it. Breaks above 105. Yeah, you could have some issues there. Let's go to bonds. ZB. Yeah, bonds are not looking good. Yeah, that's not good. Generally, you want bonds to be moving up. So we're just in this channel here. You could argue. All right, just kind of in the middle of it. It's kind of a red flag to me. Okay, VIX. VIX is being annoying too. VIX is definitely could be a red flag here. It's not often that we get closes, consistent closes above the daily 200. So this is the volatility of the volatility. Usually we get these pops and we fall right back down. Pops fall back right back down. So could this be something a little more? We'll see. I wouldn't let it, don't lose sleep over it, but something to just kind of look at. If you want, just look at the VIX. The VIX is just kind of doing its thing. Let me see what the signals are here on the VIX. The VIX volatility of. Yeah, we got that squeeze. Momentum's kicking up. That's no bueno. All right. I think that's all I had play. We looked at some of the sectors. We could look at a few more. XLY. Let's just look at some of these big boys. Apple. Yeah, if Apple loses this area at about 168.50, it's not going to be pretty. I mean, as you can see here with this volume profile, we can see that if you start to break through this 168 mark, it gets kind of ugly. Do not like the looks of that. So market bulls better defend this area like their mama depends on it, because she kind of do. Not too good there. Let's go check out Microsoft next. Microsoft is surprisingly still pretty darn strong. I wouldn't mind taking a swing on Microsoft if I didn't have a little bit of trust issues with the market, especially going into CPI. So I like Microsoft. That dip yesterday apparently was a pretty juicy dip by opportunity still for market bulls. We're still near all-time highs. Let's go check out. Let's see if we want to continue to some upside. We're looking at 431.40. And then, of course, if we crack below 417.50, then you're looking for some pain around 413. Let's go to Google, the most annoying name on the face of the planet right now for me. Yeah, it looked like it was trying to defend so hard this level. We got pushed below. Now we're back up. Inside day. We got some work to do. Hopefully it does something soon. We'll see. We'll see. Definitely would like to get it to hold. I definitely would prefer it to get back above this 153.78. It's done okay to reclaim 152.15, but my confidence did get a little bit shot there yesterday when it had that nasty move down. So we'll see what happens at this point in time. I would definitely like to see it get back above 153.78, but so far it's just kind of hanging in there. We'll see what happens. All right. So still looking for 159, 160 upside potential on Google if we can get there. It might be a battle, but it's one of the better looking names in the market alongside Microsoft, in my opinion. Let's see. Let's go to Netflix. Netflix has been a very strong name. You haven't quite gotten to lifetime highs, but man, she's getting there. We do have earnings coming up in a few short weeks on the 18th. Yeah, but you got a decent little move here next to 650. From 650, you're looking at lifetime highs at about 700. Is she going to report just as positive earnings like it did last time? We'll have to see, of course. But strong trend here for Netflix. A lot of bulls there. Meta, again, these communication guys look really good. Speaking of Netflix, I know there's been a lot of chatter with Disney. Disney's been defending the daily 21 EMA. It's also been trading above its earnings VWAP. So yeah, some relative strength here in Disney also. Earnings aren't for a while, so we'll get some clues as to how well some of these, especially after Netflix earnings are before Disney earnings. So we'll get some more insight as far as that data goes. Let's see here. I did want to run a scan here just to see. Mr. Grinch. Let's see. Dexcom. I'm getting Dexcom on a scan. That one's pretty interesting. Da, 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 da. Dexcom. Let's see, we got earnings on the 25th, holding the 21. Yeah, it's not bad. I said I think for most of these on the scans, I don't even have any of the big names on my scan, which is kind of annoying. eBay's still pretty good. Yeah, I just don't feel inspired right now for new swings, which is why I'm not getting too heavily involved. But I do want to make mental notes of, you know, where some of these guys are at, and maybe where some of these scans are sitting at. I want to check Ab. Ooh, look at that move on Abby. Oh my god, puke, pukey. Dick's Sporting Goods. Dick's is holding up. It's been a very good trade for my long term. Let's see. What else do I want to look at? Looked at some healthcare. Looked at tech. Looked at some of these communications and financials. Home Depot. Why not? And oh, Lowe's. That's getting hit. Software. Okay, Datadog. Get rid of those. Datadog, you need to get back above this 127. I love a good zone. 118. Break above 127. We're looking for a move towards 134. Actually, I'm going to be looking for a move back to here. We'll mark 134 as a move. But if we break down below 118, yeah, probably revisiting this. Let's see. I'm going to put an anchored VWAP on this earnings gap up. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. That is sweet. So this is from the last earnings on that big gap up. We could put one here too. Where is that earnings date? Right here. Oh man, look at that pinch. It's getting squeezed. Datadog is getting ready for a move. All right, so Datadog is going to be on my short list. I like that. I like that a lot. Man, that looks great. Whichever way she goes, you're going to get an aggressive move there. Dang, that looks good. Okay, Snow. Ew. Snow looks like someone peed in the snow. That looks terrible. Break below 150. No, 151. Yeah, break below 151. Looks nasty. Room to 141. Nice little 10-point move. Yeah, that looks good. Downtrend, nasty. And I can anchor from here. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to get much data below it because we anchored up here, but you can see where the trouble lies. This is a big volume shelf right here that's got to fight with all this noise. If Snow wants to be bullish, it's got to get back above like 164, 165 at least. Ooh. Yeah. Snow, possible downside. Tesla, everybody's favorite. Earnings coming up. We know deliveries have been China deliveries bad. I don't think they're going to have good earnings, to be honest with you. Just basically from the data that I've seen, I don't think it's going to be great. I think Tesla's got some issues at this moment in time, and they need to be resolved. So until that changes, and plus it's still guilty until proven innocent. We're still trading below the key moving averages. We're trading below a sloping downward 50 simple moving average, and we're below the 200. So it's got a lot of work to do if the complete bullish nature of this stock wants to come back. But this name's been tricky to day trade. But if we start to lose 159, then yeah, we're going to revisit these lows down about 153. Lose 153, there's actually a gap here to tend to. Let's see. Let's visit that. There you go. That's at about 144, 145. And then, of course, the lows are down here towards 100. So I'm leaning that we at least come in and take care of this gap, whether it's before earnings or not. We'll see. But I am by no means bullish on Tesla at all. I mean, every time we've come up to the 21 EMA, we've rejected it in some form or fashion. And yeah, nothing seems to be pointing in the positive direction here for Tesla. So I'm definitely not a Tesla bull. Let's see. General Motors and Ford, they've all been doing pretty well, quietly well. So compared to Tesla, in fact, Tesla's was worse than Boeing in Q1, which is unbelievable. Tesla was the worst performing stock in Q1 next to Boeing. I got a lot of drawings here. Go away. Yeah, Boeing's got earnings coming up too. It'll be interesting to see how well they're doing considering everything going on right now. Boeing's one of those things too. It's messy. It's hard to trade. Sure, we caught some upside moves in the past. Now I haven't really looked at it because it's just too troublesome. Every day there's some kind of news piece on it, and it can go either way on you. So not really touching Boeing, but it is guilty until proven innocent. We're trading below the key moving averages. Let's see. We can put a. Let's see. I don't want to put a VWAP there. I could put one here. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't expecting much there. I don't really have a good spot to anchor for volume either. It's just so messy. It's so noisy. Boeing's tricky. You either hate it or you love it. I don't think that anybody has any kind of in between there. But it does look like we're going to come back down and retest 178, 177. Ugly, ugly, ugly. All right. Is there anyone else that I want to take a look at? DraftKings. Ooh, DraftKings. That looks pretty good. Of all the things out there, DraftKings looks good. Wow. What a move. What a move. From $10 all the way up to 47. Wow. That would be the swing high. This might take a minute if I do it from here. Oh, no. That was pretty good. So we got to clear 48.50 to make a new run. Okay. It's just for my own mental sake. I'm not going to leave that out there, but still an uptrend. Buy the dip mode seems to be the factor here. Earnings are until, what day is that? Thursday, the 2nd of May. And we got some time. Yeah, DraftKings. How about that? All right. Let me check out a few others. Pepsi, some of these consumer staple names, Procter and Gamble. Yeah, what a shame. Okay. Nvidia. Yeah, we haven't looked at semiconductors yet, have we? Inside day today on the SMH. Let's see. Nvidia. Possible double top at 974. It was going to 1,000. Nope. Rejection. Let's see. It's kind of in this zone here, this box. If we clear below 837, yeah, we might have some trouble at that point. What we talking about, Buzz? We talking about sex, baby. Ooh, a move to 700. Naughty. Yeah, so if we break down out of this box, your expected move is all the way down to about 704. That would be bad. But if we break out above, yeah, 1,000's no problem. Let's go to AMD. Ooh, AMD looks worse. That was a nasty little candle, wasn't it? Let's go anchored here. And let's do an anchor point on this swing low. Oh, yeah. She's holding on for dear life. Oof. Yeah, we could easily come back to about 140 on this. You do have some points of interest here. Yeah, we'll take a look at SMCI. You do have some possible points of support down here at about like 160, just based upon this price action. Yeah, was that 162? It could be interesting. It's either going to be interesting or it's going to be nasty. They got to hold it. Man, a lot of these, man, we can kind of see that they're kind of like right there. SMCI. Yeah, let's put the VWAP at the swing high, trading below it. Earnings coming up, big ramp up. I love this breakout that it had between 200 and 300. That was so like sexy. That was hot. I mean that was a hot breakout. All right. Let's see. We could do a few things here. Let me see. That was the earnings. It's so weird that you didn't get too much of a move from earnings. Oh, I love that. So here's your prior earnings VWAP. Let me take this off. Let me leave that on, but I want to change the color. Yeah, whatever that is. A little bit of a pinch. So this has acted as support. Prior earnings VWAP came back, tested it 3 times and held. What is that? 867. If we break above 1,034, that's your VWAP from your swing high. So you're in a little bit of a pinch here. So we're in we call it just a VWAP squeeze. If you break above, you're back to bullish. If you break below, look out below. Let's see. Let's put in at least some kind of volume node here. I just want to see where. I guess I could put it down here. Let's put it right here. You got to build a lot of this out. You got to build a lot of it out. Okay. So I don't want to get too set up on that. Oh, there we go. All right. So yeah, I think it might come down to this daily 50 here. Daily 50 in the VWAP from the prior earnings. That's at about 880 and 860. So it's about a 20-point range there on SMCI. Is that a head and shoulders? Yeah. So my issue with this. Here's your left shoulder, there's your head, there's your right shoulder, right? It's way too obvious. When you have patterns that are like so obvious that you can show it to your grandmother and your grandmother and be like, if she knew anything about the market, she'd be like, yeah, that's a head and shoulders. It makes it so darn obvious that market participants are dying for this to break out. And then as soon as you get to the neckline, you got all the bears in the world going, ha 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 ha, I told you it's a head and shoulders, and it dips below, everybody starts celebrating, and then wham, shoots right back up because everybody starts to get stopped out at that point, creates more and more pressure. So think about that psychological aspect when something like that happens. A lot of the times the most obvious patterns don't tend to play out too well, and to me this is just too obvious. So I would be shocked if that played out. I like the idea of this VWAP pinch playing out. I think that makes a lot more sense. And you got the daily 50 here. But I mean, like I said, if we start to break down now below like that 850, that zone, if we start to break down below, then yeah, hold on to your seatbelt there. But I love the fact that you called that out and could see it. To me, it's a little bit too obvious, but not to be critical. If it breaks down, great, it's confirmed, down we go. And maybe you can buy some nice little cheap out of the money puts at that point, because those will pay tremendously. It could also still be risky, so it could be a nice little payout if it breaks down. So I would definitely put it in your notes and see what happens. You know, I would want to watch this one too, for sure. I would definitely put skin in the game if it breaks down. Absolutely. And then hope it doesn't reverse on me. And then I'd be one of those market participants that goes, oh no. Yeah. I like it. I like it. If it breaks down, it's gonna be sweet. It sure is. All right. Let's go check out the market here. See what's going on. Ticks are holding steady. Just go to the SPY. Yeah, we're still holding those areas that I thought we would. Yeah, we just got, I think the key thing here yesterday was we moved too far down too quickly, and we got this nice little bounce up into like fair value gaps and all that kind of good stuff. So makes sense to me that we're bouncing today. And the jobs number today, the jobs numbers were outrageous. 300 something thousand versus 212,000, something ridiculous. Yeah. All right. That's going to be it. Next week, Friday, we got bank earnings starting things up. And we also have CPI and PPI. That's going to be the key thing. We might just chop around next week until we get those readings. So that's kind of what I'm leaning on. We'll see what happens. But all right, there's a lot of very, very interesting setups out there. I'm not adding on to anything right now. I'm just kind of letting things play out. I think day trading is your best friend right now. If you're not comfortable with day trading, maybe it's the time to brush up on it. Maybe you can pull out that paper trading account and dabble in that, and just kind of test some theories out and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, I think it's a day trader's market at this point in time until we get some clarification as to what the market wants to do next. But all right, that's going to be it for me, guys. Y'all have a great, wonderful weekend. I am on my end. Hopefully it's going to be going to play some cold golf tomorrow. So yeah. Sweet. Thank you for joining with me. If you have any questions, just reach out. DMs are always open, and we'll keep at it. All right, guys. Take care. Thank y'all. Bye.